Is it on
It
Max?
is.
Yeah. Now mine's on Max. That's so cool. I love that you did that.
And we're doing, was it the double circle in the back?
No, just the one big circle.
One big circle, okay. Because I was playing with them and I just wanted to make sure I got this one.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. I'm just can't believe I didn't notice that because that's cute. I just love it. Okay. Am I in position? Okay. Be near me. Okay. All right. Cool. Hey, I'm Sunny.
I'm Ratchet.
And today we are talking about the generational divides.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, going there today.
Yep, we are.
So you went like hardcore because we originally were just going to talk about Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z. But you decided to go all the way up to the beginning of
beginning of the century.
Yeah, last century.
Yeah. Well, last century. Well, and like I was saying, it's like when I was reading about this, I was thinking about the things like, so I can remember back to my grandparents, which would have been the silent generation. And I thought about how the things that group experienced and the way they were raised really affected how my mother and her generation were raised and how that affected her. All of that influences how us Gen X were raised and the ideals our parents had and what we were given to kind of go out into the world with,
Then we did the same thing with our kids.
Yeah.
At least my kids are now, they're starting again. They have Gen Alpha because I'm a yaya.
I also found out, I didn't write down in my notes, but officially as of 2025, they are naming this Generation Beta, Gen Beta. So Gen Alpha, apparently, that chapter is closing. Not sure why.
Happens so fast.
Yeah.
Well, I did read that it's like every 15 years. So depending on like what sites you go to or what you're looking at, what demographic or wherever, but I mean, those years can vary. But some of my reading did say it's about 15 years per generation.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, I think.
But it is like our parents raised us a certain way, and whatever traumas that induced onto us, we do something different for our kids and induce more traumas onto them.
Yeah.
And it's just like a cycle.
We
that
just
goes
like
over
hand it
and
down.
over and
but,
over.
I think though also like, but we're not necessarily repeating, right? Because that's the silent generation. Those were the children that were, meant to be seen, not heard. And they survived the Great Depression.
On that note, though, I remember hearing that all the time, too, when I was a kid. Kids are meant to be seen and not heard.
Okay. Well, so that is something that the baby boomers a lot of times heard because that's the way their parents were raised, but then they didn't necessarily go that way. Like, so my mother being of the baby boomer generation, which would be the time from like the births following the World War, like the baby boom. So they experienced things a lot differently, but they were raised by parents who had survived the Depression, so they just were so conservative and reusing and appreciating every last bite of food that they had. And, my grandmother would, if she used a paper towel and it was wet but not dirty, she would re-dry it and use it. And so, like for my mother, because she was told children are meant to be seen and not heard, but of a different generation, that is not what she wanted to do with me and my sister, And so that affected us in like, sometimes you have things repeated, but sometimes you have a generation of saying, no, we're making a change. And sometimes that can even end up, I think, going too far. Because I think...
You think?
Yeah.
You think?
I think of 8 kids from the 80s and what brats they were, the teenagers.
I was thinking of, I'm so sorry, but Gen Z.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Or alpha, or whatever it is.
Yeah. So I don't know. So for me, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, that would be my oldest speed racer. He would be Gen Z. And then my two youngers, they would be Gen Alpha. And I'm thinking of, like, I remember in the 80s and stuff and being in school, and, like, the 80s was, like, it seemed like this time of, like, you know, don't listen to the man, and, like, giving kids so much freedom that they thought they could be disrespectful to adults and just say awful things in the classroom.
I remember my mother would have slapped me silly for some of the things that I hear said in the classrooms, just like on YouTube.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know, and I feel like that's a fault, though. That's a fault of ours, because I don't think I feel like we have lost the respect that we should hold for our elders, or anybody who's an adult in general. I'm not saying we should, you know, just follow blindly, but I feel like we have given them so much freedom and everything that now that there's no respect, like they can go to school and they can talk shit, and because they know they can't do anything about it. What are they gonna do? So I'd beat my kid. I'm not gonna lie. If a teacher called me and told me they acted that way, I would beat them. So.
Yeah. No, so I did spank Speed Racer as a kid. I didn't, well, he never, like, got disrespectful with a teacher and said awful things to a teacher. Now, he might, like, freak out and get overstimulated and flip the table over, but yeah,
because he has
autism.
Yes. So it's not the same.
Yeah. But, but we definitely tracked his behavior at school because, you know, what I told him was that, you know, having this doesn't mean that you get away with stuff. It just means you have to work harder.
Yeah.
You know, and so there would be consequences for the bad days, you know. Because he was disrupting class and disrupting the teacher and, you know, all that, and we were working towards better. But so I never really spanked for school issues, but I don't know what I would have done, honestly, if I had ever, you know, if he had ever been disrespectful to a teacher. I would have been upset. Maybe I would have spanked him. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my kids were never, but I was always very, like, you respected the people out there. If they're older than you, if they're an adult, it's sir, ma'am, or Miss Smith, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I can't get behind this.
That's how I raised my kid too, you know, and then it's like, yeah. And as an educator, it's really like, it's kind of takes me aback sometimes because of, you know, this kid is acting a fool. And then the parents, like, you know, getting defensive and saying, well, you know, my kid said this or that, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I'm sorry, did you know that children are liars? Because they are.
Especially when they don't want to get in trouble.
Right. Like, are you aware? Like, no, that is not how it happened. By the way, there's cameras everywhere. Let's take a look and see what happened. Like, what the heck? Yeah. But, you know, I do have to say, so, one, there's different cultures that are more one way or the other. Honestly, like, when working in a rural, predominantly white school, I experienced that more. Parents being more defensive of their kids and questioning the educators. Now working in a predominantly Hispanic school where
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, like they're definitely more traditional, and they're definitely like Hispanic kids. Like, they have some really high expectations for how their kids behave. And so my experience has been with the Hispanic community, they really will back a teacher and show a lot of respect for a teacher and that kind of thing. So when I find kids that misbehave, all it takes is parent communication, because the kids think, well, my parents aren't here, so I can do whatever. Yeah. But then the parent finds out and they're like in deep shit. So, you know.
Yeah.
So, well, tell me what you've got about Gen X.
Gen X. Gen X, I have from like this site that I went through is born between 1965 and 80. So again, they do fluctuate, but it is between the ages of, as of 2025, 45 to 60 is Gen X. They are latchkey kids, independent, the unbothered middle child of society. Like, fuck around and find out. That's
right. Well, like, and I was reading an article once about how, like, something that kids these days long for, that we just don't do anymore. So I remember having a lot of freedom to just get on my bike and ride around the neighborhood or whatever. I didn't have a cell phone. Nobody was keeping track of me. It was like, show up at home in time for dinner.
Yeah. And I remember that too. Like, I would get up, as soon as the sun broke, and then I was gone. And then I wouldn't come back until it was dark. Like, my mother had absolutely no idea where I was because I didn't know where I was going.
I mean, I had to give my mom some idea of what I was doing, but I spent a lot of time outside. I didn't get, like, we started having video games and we might play on our Sega Genesis or our Nintendo. But it wasn't like that wasn't a social activity because you didn't have the internet connection where you could play with friends online. Like, it was something you might do, but, like, for me, man, I was barefoot running through the grass, meeting the neighbors, finding friends, riding my bike around, riding down to Cactus Jack's.
I don't know how many times I almost got abducted or died, and my mother never even knew about it.
Well, see, I know we got into, like, some kind of dangerous shit, like stuff we don't want our kids to experience, and we're kind of creating these bubble babies, and I feel mixed emotions about that because I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, we did kind of experience some tough shit.
We did. We did. Like, we basically grew up at 7. We were running the household by ourselves, handling our siblings. And I get it. I mean, because at this point, it was a 2-person household if you had 2 parents at that time. They both had to work.
Yeah. We're the generation of
latchkeys.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, I don't regret that upbringing. I had fun. Either.
I did go.
I was okay.
Did go on the alternate route with my kids though. Like, they could go outside, but I had to be outside with them, and they could ride their bikes as long as I was outside and I could see them. But if they went too far down the road where I couldn't see them, it was done. We were over. Put your bike in. I don't know where we went.
And that's what I did too, right? That's what I did too. Like, one of the houses I had like a big bay window that in the kitchen that looked out on the street. So if it was cold and my, son wanted to ride bikes or whatever, I was, sitting in that window, or I had seats on the porch and I was always out there watching him. And that is not how I was raised. Like, how did we get there?
That's what I'm curious about after doing this research and stuff and the things that you've spoke about. I don't know, like, but there's something in our psyches. Each generation, they're like, well, I don't want to do it this way. I didn't like it. Like, I don't know if you'd call it trauma or just triggers or what, but every generation has issues with how they were raised. And so they want to do it differently for their children, which causes more issues. And then it's just like a cycle going over and over and over again. And this has just been like since the beginning of last century, apparently.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, but I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what happened in between our generation to where we were basically grown at 7 to now we're having like some of our kids. My youngest is 20, 21, almost 22, and he still lives at home.
Yeah.
So,
but part of that, I think, okay, so we talked about Gen X, but in looking at, so millennials is like more like my sister and her age, but, when I was looking through this, I think part of like maybe that boomer and millennial conflict is that the boomers aren't respecting the hardships the millennials have gone through. And I think you kind of have some notes about that. Do you want to share about your facts about the millennials?
Millennials. Millennials, I have a tech transition generation, burnout, and therapy trendsetters. They were mentally 96 years old and we're, excuse me, redo that one. Mentally 96 years old, but physically mid 30s and 40s. Didn't get participation trophies, got debt anxiety and housing prices. Being called sensitive, but maybe it's just because everything hit them like a dodgeball.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, like so there's a lot of things like the recession that was in the 2000s, the COVID pandemic recession.
9/11.
Yeah, so like it's really it was more challenging for them to find work because they're also living in a world that's changing because in the baby boomers you didn't have everyone going to college, but now everyone's being pushed to go to college, and so it finding work has been incredibly difficult for them. And that's been experienced by millennials with the recessions. With Gen Z, they've had that trouble as well. You know, now we have AI coming in, and lots of people are feeling very uncertain about, you know, what job is going to last them.
Yeah.
And this is an issue that's becoming more and more complicated. And so I don't know, you know, life was very different for baby boomers, like, because they really didn't have the technology. We didn't see that. I didn't start seeing it until I remember I was 16 the first time I got in a chat room, you know? And so, so that kind of thing, like, there's a lot to keep up with. Like, I think it's interesting. So Gen X, we had the internet. Millennials, cell phones, and stuff like that. Gen Z is where you really see the rise of social media, and it's interesting the way the technology kind of seems to go and follow. And I feel like we kind of look at our past and maybe romanticize it a little even. And so now we see like the kids all on their screens and all of that kind of stuff, and we think that that's horrible that baby's being raised with technology. But there's always something like baby boomers experienced televisions, which wasn't something before. And I remember being a kid and people were worrying about kids being babysat by televisions and, you know, don't sit too close to the TV or you'll damage your eyes. You know, so I think sometimes
I walked myself to my eye doctors.
Wow.
Like I was completely independent.
Yeah? Wow. Look at you. I wasn't that independent. I mean, I was because like, so I was the older sister, and so I was driving, and I had I remember I had one of my parents' credit cards so that I could, you know, run to the grocery store for them and stuff. And I remember as a kid feeling like a third parent. But I think that's a pretty common oldest kid.
Yeah, I think that's just an older sibling kind of, because I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest of 5.
Yeah. So So I don't know. But now I think about my son who's Gen Z, and when I was reading about it, I was thinking, yeah, that seems like him. You know, like I thought about the general awareness of social justice and political issues, which I wrote down. I don't think we've talked about Gen Z yet, but you know, I think about with him, like they have like kind of the rise of, you know, awareness and understanding of the LGBTQ community. I know that my son sometimes gets really fed up with, you know, racial issues, especially. So like my family is pretty diverse. My husband is Mexican Texan, product of a biracial marriage, you know, and that's awesome, you know. And then we had a foster child for a while who's Black, and especially when she came into the picture, race was a discussion a lot.
Why?
I mean, so she brought it up a lot.
Okay.
And so for us, so I have a very diverse circle right? I have,
No,
not
you,
that
you just don't
anybody's
hate
counting.
anybody, so.
Yeah, not that anybody's counting, but, I have friends that are Native American and friends that are Hispanic and friends that are Black and friends that are Middle Eastern, like I have a very diverse circle. But she kind of came into our family with this idea of what white people are, which is kind of sad. I was like, we go hang out with my mother-in-law's family, which is mostly Mexican, like you've gone and hung out with, like I have several friends in my circle that are Black, and you've gone and hung out with me with them.
She stayed with me.
She stayed with you.
Native American over here.
Yeah, like I was like, I don't think, I said I have a hard time thinking of any friends that you would say are, purely white. I guess
I don't think anybody is purely white anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's like, I know there are people who think that way, but I don't know. It's just, especially being in America, everything's just a mishmash. Or my father would say Heinz 57.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's true. According to 23andMe, though, I'm like super white, which is okay. Like, I don't know, it's okay. Like that's the thing. Anybody like, but my son will get frustrated and say, "There's only one race, and it's the human race."
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that's a very Gen Z ideal.
But I agree with that. I think it's more, and then everything else is cultural. But there's one race, everything else is just cultural.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
And I wish people would just stop being dumbasses.
Me too.
Kids and adults, stop being dumbasses.
Just don't be stupid. Oh, do you want to tell your notes about Gen Z?
Oh, Gen Z. I have all the emotions all the time. Digital narratives, bold, anxious, politically loud, and chronically online. Smartphones from childhood, school shootings, lockdown drills, TikTok culture, informational overload, LGBTQ, I got that too, and identity being more mainstream, and then the political polarization of it all being online. And then, of course, the results are digitally fluent, emotionally expressive, socially awkward, anxious, bold, low tolerance of toxicity.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that. And, I think that when I was thinking about the different generations, I thought, how amazing is it, though? Like, there are a lot of negative things about social media. But, there's also a lot of, like, knowing people from all around the world and what their daily, life is like and what their struggles are and what's important to them. And if you are using it to be open and to learn, it's a wonderful tool. Now, I mean, there's a flip side that so much cyberbullying happens and people just using that as like
adults, man.
Yeah.
They're adults and they're out there talking shit to just anybody. Keyboard warriors.
Well, yeah, they're keyboard warriors, and it's kind of interesting because it's like the digital version of road rage, right? Like, because like if people acted the way they do when they're driving, you feel like you are not a pleasant person, and it's kind of the same thing.
Your mama should have swallowed.
Oh, I lost my pillow. I need it back.
Uh-oh.
I need some back support. But yeah, it's all very interesting. So, I know we were talking about just Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z, but, Gen Alpha, like, it's interesting the criticisms. So, Millennials are very critical of baby boomers, and that phrase, okay, boomer, kind of started with them. And it's kind of funny because we're like the overlooked middle child.
We are.
Like, I even saw, like, some sort of little video skit thing, and it was like the boomer and the millennial going back and forth, and all of a sudden somebody There's a Gen X person that comes in.
Oh my gosh, there's this woman. I wish I would have thought of to grab her name. I can't remember. But she's Gen X, and she talks like, she goes to these Gen Zers, their videos about Gen X, and then she just like reams them. And it's so funny.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's so funny.
When I was writing this stuff down, so do you remember there was one time that you and me and Mr. Sunny had gone to a party, and I unfortunately had let Mr. Sunny park the car. This was back before we were married. And so we decided it was time to leave. And Mr. Sunny had quite a bit to drink, which,
Okay.
which my mom always reminds me when I talk about the crazy stuff he does. She's like, his friends named him Man Baby, which I think you're part of why he was named Man Baby.
I called him Man Child.
Man Child. Okay, Man Child. Whatever. Man Child. Man
That's how
Baby.
he is on my phone.
Because he drinks and he becomes actually the version of himself that's, he turns into tough guy, but an adult. Anyways, we left the party, and I was trying to get him to show me where he parked the car because he dropped.
Oh, I remember this.
Yes, and we're walking down the road, and like you keep having to pull him back onto the sidewalk and stuff, and I didn't know where this parking garage was, so I stopped to ask these people.
I hitched a ride from somebody else.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you were like, I'm not going home with y'all. This is crazy. And it was like, I was so mad that night. But anyway, I stopped to ask these people directions, and they're sitting there being helpful. And then Mr. Sunny is over there with you, and he yells, "They don't know, they're millennials." And then they yell back, "Gen Z."
That was a cold night, too.
It was. Yeah, we dropped you back off, and we still wandered around for hours.
Yeah, because we had walked back, and then I had met up with another mutual friend of ours, and she was leaving, so I was like, oh, bye, guys.
Well, and I even called and asked Mr. Sunny's best friend, the pilot, but he was at the party having a good time. He's like, "It's at the only parking garage there is downtown." I'm like, there is not just one. Yeah, so we wandered around forever before we got
Glad you made it.
Yeah. I was like, this is where I should, like, so I've never used Uber. I'm just scared of it.
Why?
Because stranger
Stranger danger.
Yes. Like, I know people do it all the time. I know it's like a great resource. I don't, like, for me to trust myself to get in the car with a stranger, like, I'm like, I can't.
Okay, it is kind of, like, I actually used an Uber to go to that party.
Oh, yeah?
I did. And, like, this dude was trying to, like, get my number. Like, hardcore. He was like, if you need a ride, here's my number. You should give me a call. We can hang out after you're done. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, see, that's not cool.
It.
So for me, like, I go to this dark place, and this is probably, like, I don't know, I think maybe the reason that we raised our kids the way we did is because I think that when we were, like, kids, stranger danger became a big, like, thing. Like, there was this belief that there were strangers running around in white vans trying to give you candy and get you in the car.
No, literally.
Yeah.
That's where I almost got abducted.
Yeah. Wow. So it really was a thing. I thought maybe it was, like, my parents telling me about the gypsies.
It was a white RV.
Uh-huh.
And me and my girlfriends were at the river, because there was a river like a couple miles from my house, so we would just book it there. And he had his RV out there by the river, and he was like, come in here. And I'm like, oh my God, you were going to decapitate us, and we'll...
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that's not okay. But, I don't know, maybe that whole stranger danger, and it's really kind of turned more into, instead of saying stranger danger, it's more like, the whole awareness of, like, sex trafficking and stuff like that. Like, it just, the world feels more dangerous.
It does. That's actually what I used to tell my daughter all the time, because she and I used to fight over the fact that I wouldn't let them go very far out of sight all the time. And she'd be like, Mom, the world is not as bad as you think it is. I was like, no, it's worse. I was like, they're going to kidnap you. They're going to put a needle in your arm, and I will never, ever see you again.
Wow.
That was my biggest fear, was the sex trafficking. I was like, they're going
Yeah.
to take my kids. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and then hearing those horror stories of some of those survivors that have come out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is a really terrible thing.
And it isn't even just the gritty neighborhoods. I mean, think about Epstein. They were trafficking.
Yeah.
And they were rich and famous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of one thing, you know, because it's you know, part of my job as a school counselor to be really aware of those things and educate myself and educate others and stuff, and just kind of the different ways that it can happen. And it makes me really sad because, like, one of the examples we were given was, you know, somebody, you know, a girl starts dating a guy, and the guy knows that she and her mom are short on money, and so he, like, pressures her to go just, like, hang out with people and stuff, and it turns into, like, kind of, you know,
Pimp.
like being prostituted out to people, and it's this thing that happens, and it's not the person grabbing you and sticking a needle in your arm and taking you somewhere.
It's family. Sometimes they're the most dangerous people.
Yes.
The people that you should be able to trust.
That I one time heard it said that the stranger danger was actually did more damage than good, because people have this idea that there's just strangers running around doing these things, when most of the time it's
family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or trusted family, friends, whatever.
Yeah, someone you know. Family or a family friend or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's how they end up getting access.
Yeah, my kids weren't allowed to do sleepovers. They could have sleepovers at our house with me, but they were not allowed to go to other people's house to have sleepovers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speed Racer has never done a sleepover. Like, the only place he's spent the night is with his dad or with my parents. So I don't think he ever wanted to. Like, I don't know, there were so many things that were just kind of easy for me because it was in his nature. He was an anxious child. And so we just, yeah. But no, he never stayed the night anywhere. And it's kind of interesting blending families, right? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, Mr. Sonny, you know, he's the one that kind of makes decisions on that. And so Sweet Pea, I mean, she's gone and stayed the night with friends a lot. And I mean, that's his decision.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't like the people that she goes and stays the night with are people we know, the parents, and, you know, we know the kids and stuff. So it's not like crazy or anything. But yeah.
The world is just a dangerous place. And maybe this is, I don't know. Like, I don't know if we're talking about our generation and how we grew up, and then how we're raising our children, which is completely opposite. Mm-hmm. Like I was on my own. I did what I needed to do. I cooked and cleaned for my siblings. I did laundry. Mm-hmm. You know, all this. But for my kids, like, they didn't have chores. Like, for me, I got in trouble. Like, if the chores weren't done, if my siblings' chores weren't done, I was the one that got in trouble. So with my kids, they didn't have necessarily chores. But when I asked them to do something, like take out the trash or clean your room or pick up the living room or something like that, I expected it to be done. Mm-hmm. And not later. Like, I'm asking you, but I'm really telling you.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the difference between how I grew up and how I raised my children. And then, of course, everybody was dangerous. You don't trust nobody.
Oh, man. I don't think that I was that extreme, I guess. But I was really cautious. Like, so I think it's some of the things I did. Like getting on my bicycle and riding all over the neighborhood and stuff, you know. I remember Speed Racer wanted to go to, like, you know, kind of the next street over, and he wanted to ride his, it was like a motor bike. Mm-hmm. Not a motorcycle, but like kind of fat tires, dirt bike thing. He wanted to ride it over to his friend's house that he had made, just kind of over the next one. And I was like, I followed him with my car there. I made him have his cell phone. And then I was going to come follow him back, but the parents, they followed him back, and he let me know that they were doing that and stuff. Like, I couldn't even let him drive. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, and now we got this gentle parenting thing that happened, and I think that's like this is where I feel like I'm a boomer, because that whole gentle parenting epidemic that happened and was spawned from that, just, I swear to God, I want to punch them all out.
See, okay, I feel like this is one thing that makes me and my sister very different. I was in that generation where you still did do the spanking, but the rise of the no spanking and gentle parenting came out when my sister came around. And I remember seeing 60 Minutes videos talking about the way spanking is like just a really bad thing to do to your kids, and, teaching violence and stuff. And like...
That made me think. Like, that's teaching violence. I was like, okay, I can see that. Yeah. But other than that, no.
I mean, I can see that as well. But also, like, I was spanked with the belt as a kid. Now, do I think I needed that? No. Because I was a good kid. That was too much. And I think that there are kids, I think every kid is different. So, my son, I did spank him, but it wasn't like my go-to for everything. Like, and this is probably, I don't know, not that great, but it would be like for things like fighting. It's like, if you're gonna put violence out there, you're gonna get violence in return. Like, I remember one time I went to take a shower, and he and his stepsister got in a fight. Like, they were just supposed to stay away from each other because they could not get along. But they ended up arguing, and then they ended up hitting each other. And that was actually, in fact, so I don't spank stepchildren, but that was one time that I did. And I texted the dad and let him know. I was like, I will be spanking my son for this. And, like, he was okay with it. I said, but I'm also going to be spanking your daughter for this, because they both participated in this. Yeah. And I couldn't even take a damn shower.
Yeah, no. I am all for spankings. I'm all for, for me in general, I didn't do anything other than, like, with my hand, for the simple fact that I was abused. Like, my mother and father were both very abusive people. So,
yeah, I've never used an object.
So I've only ever spanked with my hand. My kid's father had a paddle specifically made. Like, he had it made, and he drilled holes in it.
Yeah, see, like that is like, that's something I think baby boomers experience that we're like, no.
So that was the only time that I've ever threatened him, because we got along fine, parenting-wise. But I told him that if he didn't put that away, that I would take the kids. We would fight for custody. Like, that was, like, one big thing. I'm all for spankings, but use your hands so you know how forceful it is. And you're also a man, so you're stronger.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Be gentle.
Yeah.
So it's just about getting their attention. It's not about damaging their psyche, I feel like. And then, of course, it went from that to gentle parenting.
Yeah.
Which is
like, hey, buddy. It's like,
I know those are big feels. Let it out. Bitch, I am trying to eat dinner too. Get your kid, take him outside. Figure that out.
Yeah, I do feel like there is definitely, it's taken too far, right? Because it's a balance, because, like, on the one hand, I definitely believe if you can have a conversation with a kid and you can resolve it in a more adult way,
or at least on their level,
yeah. But I mean, they're like, different kids are different. Like, some kids, like, they don't care if you spank them because they're like, well, after you spank me, I'm not going to be hurting anymore, and then I'm just going to do what I want. Those kids, those are the kids that shouldn't be spanked.
So that was my youngest daughter. She gave 2 shits.
Yeah. So, like, you have to kind of find, like a lot of times parenting, especially when your kids are younger, is just like coercing them into behaving.
It was. So, I don't know how many times I bribed them. If you just stop, please stop.
Yes.
I swear to God, I won't give you this.
But you know, like the kid that's really social, maybe they don't care about spanking. So like that's, you know, the isolation, the going to the corner or whatever, you know, or grounding. But I don't know.
Did you ever, when you had like your step siblings, I remember like my older two fought like cats and dogs, like vicious fighting. Like they would verbally assault each other. It was horrible. Like sometimes I'd walk into it being like, oh my, I don't even know how to process what's going on right now. But I would duct tape their hands together to make them get along. I would like duct tape them and they'd be like, well, I have to go to the bathroom. I was like, well, that feels like you got to figure that shit out, huh? Just to try to get them to get along.
Oh, wow. You could have gotten them like the friendship sweater where like two people have to fit in it.
Did you ever do anything like that?
I mean, no. I would really, especially with my previous marriage, my son and the younger stepdaughter, like it was a terrible, it was terrible, and I did my best, and looking back, I actually really wish that I had left a lot sooner because I think it was a terrible deal. They could not get along, and I did a lot of sitting down with the two of them and talking about each other's, like, you know, what's your perspective and how do you feel, and what's your perspective and how do you feel, and really trying to get them to understand each other, you know. And so that was always partnered with whether it was spanking or being grounded. And, you know, everybody comes from different backgrounds too, right?
Yeah.
So like these two girls in my second marriage had been, you know, basically locked away and shut up in their rooms to the point that, you know, they had to shit in their own room because they had been left so long. So that was something where I was very careful about my discipline to not trigger that. Like if they were grounded to their room, the door was left open, you know, and, you know, I don't know, different things like that. That's just like where every kid's different, right?
Yes.
You know?
Every kid is different. Every parent is different. And we raise them individually. Like, you and I, we have different parenting. But I guess my statement about the gentle parenting and I think it's like Gen Z. It's gentle parenting.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like I am a millennial because I feel like I'm just like raising my cane, being like, get off my yard.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh my God, could you just like shut the fuck up?
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is like people like we don't tell our child no and stuff like that's not healthy.
That's not parenting.
No, because your job as a parent is to prepare your child to live in this world.
Real world.
Yes.
With real consequences.
Yes. 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 And so like, and I do think there's a balance, right? Like, you know, home is like the safe place, right? So, you know, if you don't do your job in the real world, you get fired and bye-bye. You never see him again. That, you know, so that's
and mommy
not really...
calling and talking to your boss isn't going to help that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's really...
Or going to the flipping interview with you. Oh my God, grow some balls. Cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah, like that's not okay. I was trying to work with a parent of a student, and I honestly, this is one where I was just like glad when they moved on and left the school, because she had a special needs child, and so she really took that to where like she was always there advocating and arguing and stuff. And I mean, her kid was an ass. He was so disrespectful, and he would tell lies, and the mom would come in and believe him wholeheartedly and be arguing on his behalf and stuff like that. You know, and he was in middle school. So I tried to relate to her, just like I was like, hey, you know, my child's special needs too, had issues with anger, you know, and I said that, you know, one thing that I really did for him to prepare him, especially as he got older, going to high school and that kind of thing, as I said, at some point it is better to let kids, start kind of working out some of their issues and their battles, because it helps them to grow up. And she was like, well, I don't care. I have until he's 18 to advocate it for him, and I'm going to do it all the way up till then.
Okay, so you just literally put your kid up to being 45 years old, living in your basement, playing video games, telling you he wants his allowance. He didn't ask to be born. You owe him.
Well, I do. I worry about this kid's future. I feel like there's sometimes, in education where you have kids and you think, I'll probably see that kid on the news someday. I think this kid will, because he has very disrespectful, hateful behaviors towards authority. And, that hasn't been curbed. He's, also, he's a really excellent football player, so he, that whole thing, was getting, that kind of made him an exception to certain rules, because...
Why is there exception for rules?
It shouldn't be like
that.
I don't care if you're rich, I don't care if you're poor,
I don't care if you're disabled, I don't care. You should still have to abide by the same rules. Yeah,
you should, but the world isn't like that. It's not.
And this is where I'm like, okay, maybe I am more boomer than anything.
Yeah. Oh, no. I embrace my Gen X-ness.
I mean, I do that. I am, but I honestly think I'm more old school than anything. I have no empathy for... I hate going out to restaurants for the simple fact that there's going to be some kid throwing a tantrum or making a mess or running around the restaurant, and the parents are going to be like, oh, isn't that cute? Or ignoring them. As they do all this stuff, you're ruining my time out, my relaxation time out in society with my husband or my friends, because you can't control your kid. And I was one of those parents that was like, if my kids couldn't behave at home, there's no way I was taking them out.
Oh, yeah.
We would be ready to go out to the park or whatever like that, but they'd start fighting. I'd be like, okay, it's done. You guys can't behave at home. I'm definitely not going to trust you out there in public.
Yeah, yeah. That's been a big adjustment for me as a blended family, because our youngest, tough guy, he gets better and better every day. But sitting on his bottom, he is not good at that, And I was trying to balance the whole... teaching him a better way, but also not just kind of butting in when his birth father is sitting right there, and
ignoring it.
Yes. Yes. So I feel like we've really gotten to a good groove and a good balance where it's not a conflict between me and Mr. Sonny anymore. But, it's also there are times I was like, oh my gosh. So I don't know. He's just one to bounce all over the place and stuff. Yeah, we actually, so I know this is going to come out a lot later, but there was a very tragic event that happened recently, and it kind of made me think about tough guy, because a child, he was a kid with a lot of energy that thought he could outrun a bus, and he didn't. And he got run over and he died. And it's this tragic thing that, we can kind of think that there's some way we can control it. But it happened.
Yeah.
And so the 6-year-old boy died very sadly. But I think about tough guy and how he has ADHD and a lot of energy, and he acts without thinking as well. And my husband remembers being a kid and he would get off of the bus and he would be running alongside the bus thinking he could beat it, and he couldn't. And thank God he never, ended up in a place where the bus turned and he, but I had this kind of tinge of guilt, because I remember at one point, when tough guy was younger and we were all walking somewhere, and Mr. Sonny is just walking ahead. I'm walking in the back, watching watching the kids because, you know, like Mr. Sonny will just go straight ahead and not look back. And it's the kids' responsibility to catch up. Whereas, you know, that's not what I did with Speed Racer. And Speed Racer is the oldest. You know, he feels responsible for kind of helping me keep the ducks in a row. And we were in a parking lot, and Tough Guy was all over the place, and Speed Racer was trying to get him to listen, and this was still early enough that Tough Guy didn't give a shit about what I had to say or what Speed Racer had to say. Very defiant. And I told Speed Racer, I was like, just let him do what he's going to do. And he was like, Mom, he's like, what if he actually gets hit by a car or hurt? And I was just like, well, Mr. Sonny's going to have to do so. Like, he's not listening to us.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I took that. And now I think about that. And that was a really callous, horrible way to be. But it's just like, it's so hard to be a step. Yeah. Like, it's hard to be a step parent and blend, especially when you're at that stage where the step kids don't have buy-in with you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, my bonus kid is like, he was 16 when we got married.
Yeah.
So, like, there's no way of me coming in there as any type of parental figure, I don't think. All I can do is just be an advocate for him. Mm-hmm. So, and a support system if he ever wants it. And a friend. Mm-hmm. So, but I wouldn't even know how, like, things that have happened in the past, like him throwing a party in the house when we were on a honeymoon.
No.
They went through everything.
Oh.
They found my gummies, which was right by my vibrator. So I asked him one day, I was like, I hope you guys enjoyed that vibrator. You know, I know you found it. He's like, nah.
Oh, God.
But you went through it. You saw it. You went through the gummies. You got him. Yep. So, but I had to, as hard as it was for me, I had to step back. Like, that wasn't my responsibility. I was mad. I was miffed about it. But I had no say. Because he was 16 years old. Mm-hmm. You know, he has a mother who loves him and supports him. And I respect her. And then he has a father who loves and supports him. And obviously I'm in love with him. Yeah. So I had to just grit my teeth, step back, and let them take care of it. Yeah. You, on the other hand, you had babies. Like, they were littles. They are littles.
It's been a balance. I feel like, you know, with time and lots of communication, sometimes not very nice communication, but like now we're in a place where we're meshing really well. But yeah, I think about that, parenting styles and trying to balance it. And, you know, I could have accidentally let something really bad happen to that kid. I don't know. I just was thinking about that this week. So I'm glad nothing did, because I love Tough Guy. He is such a sweet, cute, wonderful kid.
Oh my gosh, he used to be my favorite. Like, he was just like this little itty bitty face angel. Mm-hmm. And he was so stinking sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, and he can be such a defiant, like, just like turkey.
And now I'm like looking at him, he's actually a kid now.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah. So
my last statement that I had on this.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you have any takeaways.
Is that each generation is different because of personalities in the world they grew up in. Boomers had stability, Gen X had independence, millennials had economic chaos, Gen Z had digital overload, and Gen Alpha is being raised on screens. Different world build different mindsets. Mm-hmm. So it's just like it's a catalyst. Every generation just keeps going and going and going, and we keep trying to do better, still causing the same chaos. I don't know if there's
navigating the world we live in, right? You know?
So, but what are your takeaways? Like, where do you fall in the generation cycle, and what are some key points that you guys think about all of this?
Yeah. Let us know. Mm-hmm. Inquiring minds want to know.
And we inquire a lot.
Yes. So
do you have any last words?
I really like what you had to say. You know, we all have our strengths. And I think it's important to realize that those strengths come from, like, they've been forged from the world that we grew up in, right? So I agree. Very well said.
All right. Well, here's to unpacking generational stereotypes.
Woohoo!
And just shouting into the void.
And shouting into the void. Woohoo!
How you doing?
Now that we're recording, should I talk about something totally inappropriate?
Of course.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about generational divides, and the thing is, us Gen Xers are now the age of people that have to do things like colonoscopies and Cologuards. And apparently there's another option where you smear your shit on a card.
Yes.
Yeah, there's several options. Colonoscopy, like, I don't know, that's 10 years. Cologuard is 3 years. And then the little shit card thing is like a year. So at my most recent doctor's appointment, she was like, "You're the right age for a colonoscopy." And I was like, no. No. I thought that was 50. And she's like, "Well, we do have a couple other options." And I was offered the shit on a card thing. And I was offered the Cologuard, where you take a shit in a container and do some different things to preserve it. Then you put it in a box.
And you mail it in?
Yes.
What did you decide to do?
I did the Cologuard. But believe me, complained to my nurse husband for like a long time. Like, I stressed. I looked at the box. I stared at the box. It took me a week to open it. I read it. I was like, oh my God, I have to do what? And then it's like, you know, you need your shit to be a certain consistency, right? Like, it's
No!
Yeah. It's got to be solid enough. Okay. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, because I was going through something, right? Okay. And so I finally got to a place where I'm like, yes, I can take a good shit. But, you know, like, I'm not taking this to work. Do you know Mr. Sunny suggested that I take a Ziploc bag to work? And I was like, I refuse. So finally, I had a morning where I was going to be able to take care of this before work. Seemed kind of solid. And I was also feeling a lot of pressure because those motherfuckers were calling me and texting me and telling me how important it was that I get this stupid thing done and send it in. I'm like, I need time. This is not easy, okay? So then I finally do all the stupid stuff I've got to do with my shit. And pack it in the box, and I'm looking at the instructions, and it's like, you can drop it off at UPS, and I'm looking at this box, and it's like got arrows that you've got to keep it up, and it says human specimen. And I was like, I cannot walk into UPS with my shit in a box and hand it to somebody.
How are you going to get it in?
So I read through again after being super upset about that. And they said that you can schedule a UPS pickup. And I was like, this is also terrible, because I will die if Mr. Sunny or Speed Racer bring in this package I'm leaving on the porch to be picked up. So I was like, but at least I don't have to face the person picking up my shit. And Speed Racer, I was like, listen, do not touch that white box. Do not bring it in. That would be my nightmare. Don't touch it. It is being picked up. And then I watched that Ring camera, it's not a Ring, it's, whatever, video, porch video. Like, every time it went off, I'm like, is somebody picking up my shit? It finally happened. The shit box is gone. I cannot tell you the relief I feel. But yeah, menopause and colonoscopies. What the fuck?
I actually have had 2 colonoscopies.
Oh, gosh.
The regular colonoscopy.
Yeah. Well, my mom and dad have 2, and my mom had to start young. And I mean, part of it is that because my mom has had colon cancer, like, they're really like, you need to do this. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. The second one, I woke up during the procedure. And I was a little freaked out. So that was... they put me back down, but it wasn't enough because I woke up again. And they told me to calm down, where they were almost over. And they pointed me to the screen. So I just kind of watched them finish the colonoscopy.
Oh my gosh. Oh, fun fact about my dad that I cannot fathom. He doesn't like pain medicine, so he does them without any kind of being put down.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I no.
Yeah. Me either. I can't imagine. But he'll get a root canal without painkillers. Like, he does not like them.
I don't like the way they make me feel, but I think I'd rather, personally I would rather have the side effects from the pain medicine than have to be awake during a root canal or colonoscopy.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Please drug me up. I cannot be a calm person during this. I'm going to freak the fuck out.
And then afterwards, they like make you fart over and over and over. You don't understand. I can't do that. My husband has never ever. I can't do it in front of my husband.
I do know this about you.
And then I have to sit there and but you have to, because it's literally like the pressure. You have to. But it's still like the mortification of these loud, obnoxious farts coming from me and knowing that everybody in this area is hearing it. It doesn't even matter the fact that other people are doing it. It didn't even matter that they were expecting it. But the fact that they could hear me, I wanted to bury myself.
Oh, God. Oh, man. I can't believe we're here. I can't believe this is the age that we're at.
Grown era.
Oh.
Just embrace it. Come to the dark side.
No. I'd rather shit in a box. Oh my God. So, getting old.
Getting old.
Yep.
But you don't look old. You look very spunky today.
Well,
I love your space buns.
Thank you. I'm getting, in touch with my youth.
Yeah.
So, all right, shall I?
Mm-hmm.
Kick it off? I will. I'll kick the fucking table over. No, I won't. I won't do that. Okay.
I'll help. We do it together.
I just shit in a box. Colonoscopies suck. Menopause is the worst. Okay, I'm done. Done with my rant. I'm just, ooh. Okay. All right.
Okay.